Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Kat. When I just started this channel, I made a video about career path for PhDs as I am a PhD myself. But I want to dedicate this video to people who have medical doctoral degrees, MDs so-called. Because over the years, I have many MD or MD PhD friends who jumped into the non-clinical work. So I will just share my 2 cents here in this video. There are some jobs overlaps between the two, but many are different. If you have any other topics you would like me to discuss, please comment below and I'm happy to address them. If you like such content, please thumb up and subscribe to my channel. Without further ado, let's get started. First and foremost is the pharmaceutical companies, and you can be in the clinical development team. This is a very broad term that kind of encompasses many different roles for physicians and others that kind of work together very closely in the drug development process. Their responsibilities range from, conceptualized ideas for new drugs to developing a research and clinical trial plan to prepare the drug to be presented to the FDA for approval, to addressing issues that come up along the way. And these physicians may be involved in writing protocols for clinical trials and analyzing results along with other members of the team. And those people could include other scientists, pharmacists, and statisticians. If you've heard someone say they are a medical director at a pharmaceutical company, there is a good chance this is part of their role. The clinical development team can include people that either work directly for a pharmaceutical company or who work with the pharmaceutical company as kind of the principal investigators in academics at dedicated clinical research sites run or sponsored by the pharmaceutical industry. Medical monitors also fall under kind of this umbrella, and they are physicians that oversee trials without necessarily being the PI. While they don't really get involved in the patient care, they will make sure that the operations of the trial, for example, the compliance issues, the proper data collection, are being conducted appropriately. The physicians on this team may be people with clinical trial experience or extensive academic research. But of course, they can also just be physicians who simply have a lot of interest in statistics and clinical trials. So if you think back, have you ever loved those journal clubs that kind of evaluate evidence and dig into the scientific data? If you really like such thing, this career path might be of interest to you. Generally, it is better to be a physician in a field where there are a lot of new drugs coming to market, like oncology, neurology, or rheumatology. But physicians in any field with an interest or prior experience could make very good candidates. Example being one of the person I know from LinkedIn. She's a clinical case manager and medical reviewer in the global patient safety division in a very large pharmaceutical company. Second option, if you're familiar with my channel, I've mentioned many times the medical science liaisons. I've done a few interviews with actual medical science liaisons talk about this career. So if you haven't checked out those videos, please go watch them. It is a very popular non-clinical career option for physicians in the pharmaceutical industry. A quick recap, as the name implies, those people are the bridge between physicians, clinicians, and academics within this industry. They actually go out and speak to the community physicians and key opinion leaders in private practices and academic centers to get a finger on the pulse of what's necessary, how things are going, and how things can be improved. If their company has, a product that they think the physician may be interested in for their patient population, they will chat with the physician about where there are opportunities to address needs that haven't been met. They will also discuss the pros and cons of existing treatment options in order to kind of better understand where a new product may fit into this ecosystem of drugs available to treat the condition of interest. Sometimes this person may also communicate with patients and patient groups to see what their needs and feedbacks are as well. Once the medical science liaison has gathered all this information, they kind of relay the information back to their parent company so that the company can take this feedback into consideration during the drug development process. And as well as, of course, planning to go to market strategy. They may work closely with other physicians or clinicians employed by the pharmaceutical company to develop a plan for what needs to happen to bring the drug to market. And that includes, for example, further research that is necessary to prove that the drug in development is effective in addressing the needs of the patient population, as well as addressing any concerns for safety, side effects, etc. The third option is drug safety physicians. As you would expect, a major piece of this puzzle in drug development is to make sure that the drug is safe. There are physicians who dedicated their role within the company is just to focus on the risks associated with the drug, and it's just overall safety. They're actively involved from the early stage in conceptualization and development through clinical trials, where they kind of monitor reported side effects and see if particular patients are more at risk for those adverse reactions, and even after a drug has gone through the approval process. In this role, you may find yourself kind of investigating a potential adverse effect related to the drug and trying to determine whether the issue can be attributed to the drug or something else. You will gather thorough accounts of events of a concern, take extensive histories from patients and clinicians, and then put all the information that you gathered into context with other reports that have also been made. If you see, some sort of patterns, you will kind of flag it and escalate those side effects for further review. This could mean that those side effects may be needed to be added as warnings on the drug. You might even be the reason a drug gets taken off from the market. Next big bucket is more like business-focused career path. So one obvious option is the management consulting. If you follow my channel again, this is another option that I always talk about as I was a consultant myself. This is a popular choice for people who graduated from med school, interested in business, but don't know what sector they want to dive into. Consulting provides an excellent choice to explore different industries while making a decent income. Those big consulting firms, as you've heard many times, all offer just different varieties of positions to accommodate even a physician chooses to kind of do clinics on the side for 1 or 2 days. Within these roles, you will learn kind of the fundamental principle of how companies work. You will work within a team to kind of gather data and think of a solution to clients' questions. It is a very client-facing job, so there are certain deadlines to meet, quite busy lifestyles, and likely involves a lot of travel. Next similar job is equity research, and I just made a video about equity research deep dive, so feel free to check out that video if you're interested. Well, essentially, it is a research position in investment banks to study particular pharma companies and write reports about them. The reports are used as industrial guides for investors. Next big bucket is more like clinical labs. So for example, you can be the lab director of Quest or LabCorp, such large clinical labs, or medical director at dialysis centers. As a lab director, you can oversee all operations within a medical lab. So your responsibility is really broad, right? So that includes kind of completing all the administrative duties, managing personnel, supervising all the procedures, checking supplies, maintaining all the precise equipment, and setting up the lab. Depending on your qualifications and skills, you may also assist with planning experiments and interpreting test results. It is your responsibility to ensure all staff activities and tests meet safety standards and regulations and produce quality results. A lab director works closely with the lab manager and communicates with other departments such as clinical staff that you want to hire. So you also need quite strong communication skills. For this position, typically you need to be board certified, mostly pathology. So this would be more of a kind of senior lateral transition. Next category is health insurance and kind of just utilization management. This is typically working within kind of life, disability, and health insurance companies. There are several roles you can take on as a physician or medical director. You can analyze medically complex applicants' medical records to kind of answer questions submitted by underwriters for insurability risk. They will ask you to assess mobility and mortality risks for the life and disability products. You can also assist with life and disability claims. You can read and interpret the EKGs, for example, and stress tests. Well, you don't actually do the exams, but you kind of interpret the results. Next will be more kind of administrative roles, or you can be more like a trainer for non-physician insurance underwriters. You can also do product development and marketing. It's not really like sales for insurance companies, but that's something, you can also explore. So what skills do you need? You do need a broad knowledge of various disease states across the systems. Most are within kind of internal medicine subspecialties. That again could include the ability to interpret EKGs for those life insurance applications. They will often train you on life expectancy estimation and risk assessment. This also often requires certification in insurance medicine, and this certification is issued by a board that kind of does oral and written examinations. You also often need to have been practicing medicine. You typically need to be residency trained, board certified. At least 5 years of clinical experience is generally desired. Next is the regulatory agencies. So I'm talking about the FDAs, the CDCs, and work for the FDA's Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, CDER, as kind of the medical officers. The duties of those medical officers could vary, but I'm just sharing some of those examples. So that includes, for example, ensure all the human drugs manufactured for interstate sales are safe and effective with truthful and informative product labeling. You also want to ensure the safety and potency, purity and effectiveness of vaccines, or the blood products or certain diagnostic products. You also want to ensure kind of the safety and effectiveness of medical device and eliminating unnecessary human exposure to man-made radiations from medical, occupational, and consumer products. You also want to conduct some investigations of the manufacturing steps and kind of performing certain analytical work and recommend some enforcement actions. So if you work for any federal agencies in the United States, the Federal General Schedule grade, like the GS grade levels, at which these positions are mostly common fields, are the GS 14 and 15. And this kind of indicates your salary as well. So first of all, for GS 14, you kind of need 4 years of residency trained in the specialty of the position to be filled, or kind of equivalent experience or training. While for GS 15, you need kind of 5 years of residency training in the specialty of the position to be filled, or equivalent experience and training. Or the federal GS level pay scale transparent, so you can totally find out how much you will get paid if you work as one of those jobs. CDC is a little bit different. So medical officers kind of elect a career path at CDC Civil Service or Public Health Service Commissions Corps. And each path has its own kind of pay structure, benefits, and career progression. I have also shared the links in the description below if you're interested in such positions. But overall, as you're a governmental employee, you have a lot of great benefits. And that includes pension, right? Which pretty much does not exist in corporate world, the 401k and housing assistance, etc. Of course, the next option is the public health and non-profit organizations. You can choose to work in such organizations as medical doctors to provide medical aid services for underserved areas of the world for short-term missions or falling global disasters, while others, or you might just seek some long-term assignments. If you have the public health, global health, and healthcare administration, or even business backgrounds, you could find such positions in the nonprofit organizations around the world. They can all benefit from having you as a physician with the knowledge and training. So the most famous example would be the Gates Foundation for Malaria. You can serve as a director of an NGO, the medical director of a nonprofit or global health program. What you do is you typically coordinate kind of the health services or volunteers for globally unserved areas. You can also do fundraising and the donor procurement work. And you can work with medical nonprofit providing healthcare service globally. As you are more administrative, as well as providing medical knowledge, you want to also manage the budget, you want to counsel the organization regarding how to implement such initiatives. You can also serve as a liaison between the medical professionals within this nonprofit organization. And you need to manage all the personnel and resource, training the new employees, and fundraising, for example. So it's a lot of coordination and wearing a lot of hats. So last bucket is medical writing. You can be an editor at, places like Medscape or WebMD. And medical writing really kind of just includes any, writing of the scientific documents on the medical topics, of course. And that includes manuscripts and other research documents, regulatory documents, and even marketing materials and patient information. There are several types of editing that are used in the medical writing, and that includes one quite substantive editing. So you want edits for the structure, the content, and overall language presentation of a document. You might have also heard it as a developmental editing. The next one would be the kind of like the copy editing, the editing for readability, the grammar, spelling. This is more granular than, the substantive editing. And of course, you can also be the fact checking. This is often includes within kind of the copy editing, but it is of key importance in medical writing. It involves kind of verifying that the content of a piece is backed by facts and supported by references. The most common type of medical writing jobs for physicians are with medical communication companies and scientific publishers. The deliverables written for medical communications are typically for pharma companies or CME providers. Many medical writing jobs in these fields, especially those held by any type of doctor, aren't just writing. And larger organizations are more likely to hire scientists or doctors with advanced degrees as full-time staff members. And the type of companies you might want to look into includes the scientific journals, academic publishers or online publishers, the medical communication companies. Even the lead editor for a publication spends most of his or her time on tasks that aren't actually editing. So these positions have the title of, let's say, editor-in-chief, chief editor, or executive editor. And this person manages the team of writers and editors and is responsible for the overall look, feel, and content of the publications. They oversee the policies and operations, make final decisions about what gets published, and focus on kind of the long-term goals and strategy. Well, that's pretty much all for kind of the career for MDs, but obviously you can be your own boss and entrepreneur, which is definitely a trend right now. You can run your own small business like the career coach or other medical related businesses such as a med spa and assisted living facilities, etc. It will be definitely a challenging route than the rest, as now you don't just work and get a paycheck. You need to go out and get funding and write business plan, take all the risks and attract customers. So I kind of don't put that into the general bucket of career path, as I am kind of going through this now, and trust me, small business is no joke. Based on my very limited experience, it is a lot harder than getting your W-2s. If you're interested in the stories behind my journey, I will share it in the future with you guys. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I will see you next time.